nursing home. And he doesn't need nursing home care at this point. So these are the options that they're faced with. The option that they did choose was option number one. They did move Jack in with Lisa. That was the option they chose just because financially it made the most amount of sense. So where did they go wrong? What was the problems here? Well, first of all, there was no care plan in place to keep up with the changing times in their lives. They really didn't, plan for their senior years. They were getting advice by an attorney, a financial advisor, and an insurance agent that helped them grow their portfolio through their working years, but they didn't get the advice through their retirement and their senior years. Neither the parents nor the children ever talked about what happens if. We talked about this. Everybody was burying their head in the sand, thinking that bad things are around the corner but down the road. We don't have to worry about them right now. Their trusted attorney did not specialize in elder law care. He didn't in trust and planning. So you need, at this point in your life, an elder law attorney. A general practitioner that just can set up a general trust or a living trust is not exactly what you need at this point in your lives. You need somebody that specializes in this field. Jane was not covered by a long-term care policy. They didn't buy her one. Why? Because she's a pillar of health. She's going to live to 100. She walks, she eats right. She's not going to have any issues, so they didn't buy her one. That was a mistake. Jack and Jane gave money to their son at the wrong point in their lives. There's a right time and a right point, and this was the wrong time and the wrong way to do it. No one ever told Jack that he may qualify for veterans benefits to help him pay for some of his care costs. And their trusted financial advisor had too much money in the stock market. Okay? Well, one of the nice things about, the stock market, when it goes up, everybody's happy. The stockbrokers call, hey, look at how great the market's doing. I made you 20% this year. Woohoo, everybody's happy. But when the market goes down, everybody kind of hides. And we don't want to, why? Because we know it's going to rebound. We know it's going to bounce and go back up, right? But, what happens if you're buying or you don't have time to recover? See, in Jack and Jane's situation, their assets, this is just a chart showing the Standard & Poor's over the last 15, 20 years or so, $100,000 invested in 1998, it goes up, down, up, down. Well, in Jack and Jane's situation, in 2007, everything was great. But when they started taking money out of the market in 2009, it had a big correction. And they don't have time to wait for it to rebound. Okay? Because they needed the money then, and they were scared that it was even going to go lower than it did. So they were not about to take the chance. They cash out the stocks and move into a cash position and be conservative. That's what they did. Well, there's another vehicle out there called indexing products, which basically allow your money to be tied to the stock market, but not in the stock market. And what these type of products do is when the market goes down, they are even. They don't go down with the stock market. When the stock market goes up, they go up with the market. Maybe not as quickly, but they go up. So when the market is down, they're even, up. So you can see the idea. So when, in Jack's situation, when the market had bad years, he wasn't losing money. And this is a financial idea that you may want to consider of, getting your money tied to the market, but not in the market. So had Jack and Jane had some advice and had some guidance before this happened, had the family talked and put a plan in place, to our best guess, Jack and Jane would have had nearly $378,000 in 2012 when Jane passed away versus the $47,000 that they did have. A big difference here. So what do we do as an organization? Well, what we do is we have what we call the wealth defender strategy. We try to put a force field around everything that's important to you to protect those assets, okay? So let's take a look at this same timeline, assuming they did some things and put some things in place and had some people advising them along with what happened. So in 2007, before the diagnosis happened, they would have met with us and our attorneys and our financial people, and we would have sat down as a team and talked with the family, and we would have put things in place. The What would happen if? How would we do this? When would we enact that? We would put a plan together so that when the time came, that plan could be enacted. So what we would do during that is we would review their current will, their trust, their medical directives, see if they're lined up, see if they're up to date. We would review the family dynamics, how everybody worked together. Does the family all get along? What is who does what in the role? What role does everybody play in the family? We would talk about chronic care plans. What would happen if Jack got sick first or Jane got sick first? We'd talk about VA benefits and see if either one, Jack or Jane, or whoever the veteran was, if they'd qualify for VA benefits. We would look at investment risks, long-term objectives. What do they want? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to protect? What are their major fears? When they lay their head on the pillow at night, what are they scared about? And then we would view long-term care policies and see if they were in place and if they were needed. So this is what we would do in developing a wealth defender strategy. So had they met with us and we had set them up and got ready for impending events, when the first sign of Jane's memory issues first hit the scenes, they would have called us and we would have started and enacted the plan that we had put together. So back in 2008, the first thing that we would have advised them to do is not move in with Lisa. Let's not make the family strain any more than it already is. In this situation, they could have moved into an independent living community, senior independent living community that had services. So not a nursing home, not an assisted living, but basically a senior apartment that had care in place for both Jack and Jane. Now the nice part about this is because Jack had some medical things going on with himself, he would qualify for a VA benefit called aid and assistance, and we would have assisted him in getting that claim put through the VA. So here's their scenario. With their Social Security check of roughly $1,450 a month, the VA benefit that they could have received would have given them an additional $1,900 a month. So that's a family income of a little over $3,400 a month between Social Security and the veterans benefit. Living in the senior community with the care costs that Jack and Jane both needed, they'd be spending roughly $3,600 a month. That means they would be, with their income coming in, the money going out, they would be only out of pocket roughly $275 per month. So that is a cheap alternative than living with Lisa. And they're getting their care needs taken care of. Lisa gets to be the daughter, not the caretaker, and everything works out well. So when 2008 would have rolled around, when they sold the house, we would have advised, sell the house, do not give the money to their son Frank. Here's the reasons why. Let's bank that money. Let's put it away. In 2010, they would have gone through 2009 and they would have spent money, but obviously not nearly as much as they had spent before. All through 2010, obviously, Jane's care is becoming more and more costly because she needs more and more aids to daily living, or ADLs. In 2012, she would not have been able to live in that independent living community any longer. She would need to have moved into an assisted living with a memory care unit. We would have suggested that Jack move in with her into that community. He can get his care there, but mainly that care was focused on, or that community would be focused on Jane's needs more than Jack's, but Jack could still get the care that he needed there. And when Jane passes away, because of the VA benefit, because of the way we would have set things up, not having so much money in the stock market and so on and so forth, Jack would be left with roughly $378,000. So Jack could then move into an independent living community that he was in before, not move in with Lisa, and he would have enough money to last him roughly 25 plus years. So that is a much better alternative. Now here's the thing we get all the time. Most people, us, sitting here today, we think this is not going to happen to us. We are the exceptions to the rule. So the question we get is, what are my chances of ever having to need a professional care from a chronic care situation? Well, here's the deal. 70% of us over the age of 65 will need some form of long-term chronic care for things like strokes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, osteoporosis, or even car accidents, mental or physical trauma, slip or fall accidents, bug bites, animal attacks. And a lot of things could land us into a situation where we need care on a consistent basis. Here's the cost of that care. $20 an hour if you get that care at home. $3,400 a month if you get it in an independent living community. Assisted living, roughly $6,300 a month on an average nationwide, and $7,100 a month in a nursing home. So here's the next big question that most people say. Well, if I'm diagnosed with a chronic care illness like Alzheimer's, does my health insurance, does my Medicaid, does my medical supplement insurance, does it pay for any of that care? Well, the answer is no, no, and maybe. Your health insurance policy, no matter what that is, if it's Medicaid with the medical supplement insurance, does not cover any of this that we've talked about. Medicare, okay, what we just talked about, that's designed for rehabilitation, short-term, maybe 100-day care, all right, skilled care. You fall, you break your hip, you break your elbow or whatever, you go in, you get rehab, so on and so forth. But if it's long-term, like Jane's situation, that is not covered by Medicare, medical supplement insurance, or your health insurance. Medicaid. So Medicaid is when the government kicks in and they move you into a Medicaid paid community bed. 9 times out of 10, this is a shared room with another person that's on Medicaid. Most of the time, these communities are at first come, first serve, so it may not be in your area, it may be 10, 15 miles away. And it may not be the premier type of community living situation that you would want to be in or you'd want one of your loved ones to be in. It's government assistance, all right? And it's designed for people that are totally broke. So you have to be out of money in order to even apply for this. So if you have assets, if you have money sitting in the CDs, stock markets, annuities, or whatever, you're going to have to spend all that money before the government's going to kick in here in most cases. All right? So that's not necessarily a great situation because you're sitting here today, you worked your whole life for those assets. You probably want to pass on some of those assets to your loved ones or your favorite charities. You don't want to spend it all on care. And the biggest thing that most people have is they have the misconception that, my health insurance, my supplement insurance, it's going to be taken care of by my insurances. So I'm going to be able to keep my assets and insurances are going to take care of it. And that is totally wrong. This is totally comes out of your pocket.